your name?
Cody Morris,
And Jody, where are you employed?
Darby Truck.
You're over the road truck driver?
Yes, sir.
And do you have a part-time, or do you do a volunteer firefighting as a part-time or volunteer? Or as a volunteer?
I did. I just recently resigned.
Were you a volunteer firefighter for Portland on December the 6th of 2014?
Yes, sir, I was.
Do you recall getting called out or toned out around 8, a little bit after 8 on that evening?
Yes, sir.
Where were you?
I was inside the firehouse
And why were you there?
because we just got back from a possible structure fire.
And did y'all actually work that possible structure fire?
Yes, we did.
And how long had you been back in Portland when you got the tone about the car fire?
Approximately 20 to 30 minutes.
And who was at the firehouse with you?
Myself, my fire chief, Cole Haley, and firefighter Cook.
And where were you advised to go as the location of the car fire?
We was advised to go down Herring Road to the tree farm.
Did you know where that was?
I didn't at the time.
What did you do after the tones came?
Well, when the tone come through, it was for a car on fire in the field. At that time, well, you know, it had been raining. It was December. It's hard to drag 600-foot hose across the field, you know, fighting with your engine. So we decided to take the brush truck. So we were responding to our brush truck because it's 4-wheel drive, be easy to, you know, fight fire if it was out in the middle of a field. So myself and firefighter Cook responded to brush truck, and our fire chief responded to our engine right behind us.
So where did you go when you left Portland?
We took a left, went toward Benson Road on Herring.
Okay. And what did you find when you got to the fire?
When we got to the fire, we've seen a passenger-sized car with heavy flames coming out of the passenger area.
And describe the fire for the jury, please, where it was contained and what it actually looked like.
The fire was coming out of the passenger area, which I mean the front seat and the back seat. It was pretty much contained inside there. It wasn't in the engine compartment or the trunk compartment.
And where did you actually pull the truck?
I pulled the truck straight up in front of the gate.
Describe for the jury, please, the area. As I understand, you're on Herring Road and you turn up a little incline to where a gate's located. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And as you're parked at the gate, where left or right was the vehicle?
The car was to our left.
And describe the location of the car in relation to where you parked your brush truck.
The car was, we pulled up, you know, here's the gate. We pulled straight up to the gate, and the car was straight across from us.
Approximately how far?
Probably less than 20 feet.
And what did y'all do at this point?
I was given scene summary. I took command since I was a captain at the firehouse. I took command, same command of it. Was given a description, a summary of the car, what we had to dispatch on the radio. And that's when firefighter Cook got my attention and said he's seen an object in the woods.
Okay. And did you look to see what object he was talking about?
I did.
What did you see?
I seen a figure, looked like somebody coming out of the woods. The only light we had was the glow of the fire, and, you know, and the lights on our brush truck. So, I mean, it was hard to see what was coming out.
What did it appear to you to be?
Appeared to be a zombie coming out. I mean, I know that's a little harsh, but that's what it looked like.
Why do you say that?
Because her hair was singed back and the way she was walking.
You could see it was a person.
Yes, at that time, yes.
What did y'all do next?
We backed the truck up down the road about 20 feet. I wanted to get some headlights. As scene command, my priority as scene commander is to protection of my firemen. We backed up so I can get a second scene summary of what I had, and I want to get some headlights on the patient that's walking toward us.
Did it kind of make y'all nervous?
It did.
Okay. And once you backed the truck, so I assume you backed it out of the.
All right, rephrase your question, Mr. Champion, please.
How did you move the truck?
We backed out and went back toward Cortland.
Which way were the head? All right, back toward Cortland would be which direction?
Be back east,
Which way were your headlights facing?
west.
Okay. And how far from the car did you see this zombie-like figure?
About 30 feet.
And describe where you saw this person coming from in relation to the road.
She was coming out of the edge of the woods, walking toward us.
Okay. And did you is this the point where you backed your truck up?
Yes, sir.
And once you pointed the headlights back west, is that right?
Yes, sir.
What did you see?
I seen a young female with severe burns on her body.
And what was she wearing?
She was wearing nothing but her panties.
What did you do?
I immediately called for a deputy because at that time I didn't know what we drove up on.
Did you was Cole there by then?
Cole was by that time. Cole was coming around the corner in the fire engine, and we both approached the scene again together with both trucks. You know, shining our headlights on her.
Was she still coming towards you?
Yes, sir.
Did you know who it was at the time?
No, sir.
And describe for the jury what now you're getting a closer look at her, what she actually looked like.
I really didn't get a closer look at her until after I got my truck. My truck parked. Myself and Firefighter Cook jumped out, and we got our booster reel out. Got the pump going, got the water going. I told Firefighter Cook just to contain the fire, and then that's when I went and assisted my fire chief with the patient.
What was Cole doing with her at this point?
He'd already had her laid on the ground, and I had her trying to comfort her.
All right, how did y'all have the trucks parked?
The engine was parallel with the car on the side of the road, and then my brush truck was right behind the car. And instead of pulling it into the drive this time, I backed it up to keep headlights out on the road.
All right, were y'all's vehicles parked basically side by side, the brush truck and the engine that
It made a square, and
What?
I said it kind of made a little square right there.
and it would have been a little bit north of where the car was.
It was right beside the car almost.
All right, did Cole begin trying to help this person?
He did.
Okay, and what did you and Firefighter Cook do?
Firefighter Cook and myself, like I said, we exited our vehicle after we approached the scene back. We pulled our booster reel out, tried to contain the fire, and Firefighter Cook was a rookie then, so I told him, I said, just fog the fire, keep it contained, don't let it spread to the tree farm until other firefighters get there, certified firefighters.
Did y'all call for help?
I did.
Okay, who did you call for?
I called for Pope Fire Department
I believe you testified a minute ago. You also called for the sheriff's department.
and the sheriff's department. Yes, sir.
Okay, why did you do that?
Because I didn't know what I had at the time. I didn't know if I'd come up on a dispute or what.
And you testified a moment ago that once Firefighter Cook was working on the car to extinguish it, that you actually went back with Cole. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell us what happened when you got back there.
Well, when I got back to the back of the fire engine, that's where where Cole and the patient was. I got down on my knees and everything, and just in my experience, you're supposed to talk to the patient and examine her at the same, examine the patient at the same time.
How long have you been a firefighter at this point?
I've been going about 11, 12 years now, since I was 13, 14 years old. I was a junior
So
firefighter.
back in 2014, you'd have been, what, 8 or 9 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so you get down with Cole, and is Cole still with this person?
Yes, sir.
Did you know who it was at this point?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you eventually learn who it was?
Yes, sir.
And when did you eventually learn who it was?
When I started questioning her.
Okay. And what did you say to her?
Well, my first question I asked her, I said, what's your name? And she told me, my name's Jessica Chambers.
Okay. And
then my second question was, I said, was anybody else in the vehicle with you? And she said no. And then I said, well, what happened? I said, Jessica, what happened to you? Because at that time, I recognized who she was. While I was questioning her, I was steady looking at her body, examining the extent of her injuries. And she told me, she said, Eric set me on fire.
And tell the jury what were the extent of her injuries.
Her lips were charred. Her tongue was charred. I mean, you can obviously tell it was third degree burns in her face. Her nasal, sinus cavities were even hanging out of her nose.
That's what I'm getting at. So when you observed her, tell the jury about her nose.
She was having problems breathing. That was because of it. It was all charred, black, all in her nose, like she just inhaled all the fire in her face.
What about her lips?
Her lips were black. It's like it was just dried up.
Were the two of you talking like you and I are talking right now?
No.
And what do you mean by that?
She was having problems breathing the time I got back to the back behind the fire truck. She was having problems breathing. Her voice was deeper than mine is. But I can make out what she was saying.
And what did you do after you talked with her?
I immediately jumped up. I told Cole, like I said, she's finna go in the shock. If she ain't already easing in the shock, I said, keep her awake, talk to her. I went on and immediately called for MedStat, told them that I had a young female with second, third degree burns on her body, 90% of her body, and to get MedStat en route ASAP. And I also told dispatch again, I said, get me deputies. I didn't get on the radio and tell them exactly what I had because I just didn't want everybody listening, the extent of the call. So I called them on the cell phone and I told dispatch exactly what I had. I said that a young female has been set on fire. To notify our EMA director, which the reason why I done that because he lived in the city of Cortland. I knew he'd probably be here, get there pretty quick to us.
Who are you talking about?
Daniel Cole.
Did you actually go back with Jessica, or were other people arriving at this point?
There was other people starting to arrive at this point.
Did you do anything else with Jessica from this point forward?
No.
Did you assist with putting the fire out?
I did.
Did you assist? I assume at some point she was transported from there to another location. Is that
She
correct?
was.
And where was she taken?
She was taken right below our firehouse to the church, right below our firehouse,
And what was the purpose of that?
to be airlifted to the med.
What was the scene like once everybody began to arrive?
It was, I ain't gonna say it was like a normal, fire scene, but everybody knew their duties, what they had to do.
What about the Pope folks when they began to arrive?
When Pope finally got there, they assisted. The reason I called for Pope is for their medical supplies on their rescue because our engine didn't have the capability of taking care of the amount of injuries she had. And when they got there, they assisted with which we call packaging the patient and helping MedStat get the patient loaded.
You ever seen anything like this before, Jody?
I've seen people burn before, but unintentionally.
Tend to the witness, Your Honor.
You may cross.
Good afternoon, Mr. Morris.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
All right.
Just a few questions for you. I know you were what would be considered first responder there. Yes. And basically, I believe your testimony was that the fire was contained inside the car.
Yes, ma'am.
So at that point, or at no point to which you recall, Miss Jessica was not in the car at any time. Only time you saw her was pretty much walking and coming towards you.
Yes, ma'am.
As a firefighter, you wrote a statement out as to what happened.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was pretty recently after it happened, correct?
The night of, yes, ma'am.
The night of. And may I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Do you recognize that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's your statement, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, if, Your Honor, what I'd like to do this time is to have it marked and admitted into evidence.
Any objection?
I would like to found, Your Honor, my back's killing me. Can I sit?
Sir?
My back's killing me. Can I sit here just for a second and talk?
Sorry, you may sit. Yes, sir.
All right. Normally it's a statement of a witness being cross-examined is not admissible unless there's some kind of I mean, if it's a prior inconsistent statement for impeachment, I certainly understand it, but he hasn't been impeached yet with his statement, so therefore I would object to the admissibility of the statement at this point.
Objection noted, be overruled. You may mark the exhibit.
Thank you. If you will, I want to direct your attention to maybe about halfway down. You might can count maybe a little bit easier, maybe about 16 lines down.
Okay.
Okay. You see where it says myself and fire chief?
Yes.
Okay. If you will, please just read that.
Myself and fire chief was working on the young lady, trying to comfort her until mess day got there.
Okay, keep reading.
I kept asking the young lady her name and what happened.
Okay, and one more sentence for me.
And that's when she told me that Eric had set her on fire.
Actually, does it say, and that is when she told us that Eric set her on fire?
Yes.
Okay. And so that us would include, as best you can recall, Cody Morris. Yes?
Yes.
Back then, this was fresh on your mind. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And I think you went as far as to when the person's name as Eric, you spelled it out and put it in quotes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
How did you spell it?
E-R-I-C, Eric.
You also testified that her lips were black, had a deeper voice. Yes?
Yes.
But you also could make out what she was saying.
Yes, ma'am.
Court's indulgence, just a moment. I think I called you the wrong name a minute ago.
You did.
What I meant to say is that actually that us included Cole Haley,
Yes, ma'am, the fire chief. Yes.
fire chief.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moore.
Redirect.
Jody, when you first asked her, did you get an immediate response, or did you have to ask her multiple times about what was going on?
I got immediate response. I mean, she had to catch her breath. I mean, she was having problems breathing.
And she was having trouble breathing. Was she having trouble breathing at this point?
Yes.
And I believe, what did you mean when you said her sinus cavity was coming out?
I mean, she had her, sinus cavities were dangling out of her nose.
Nothing further, Your Honor. He may be excused.
Sir, you may be fined excused. That means that you can free to go or you remain in the courtroom. Your choice.
Thank you, sir.